You could tell the story about how you got kicked out of not being able to fucking work for the mouse multiple times. We'll bring you back for the college program for the 18th time. Please don't verbally assault your roommate.
Okay, she had it coming, first of all.
Hey, adventurers. Welcome to Let's Just Go podcast. I'm Chris.
And I'm Kayla, and today we're going to do a battle of the Disney parks. Well, the US based Disney parks.
Yeah, so we're talking all six parks, theme parks. We're not
Hmm.
going to include the water parks.
No.
So we're talking about Magic Kingdom at Disney World, Magic Kingdom, Animal Kingdom, Hollywood Studios, and Epcot. If you still call it MGM Studios, you're old as fuck.
Yeah, you are.
But thank you. But also thank you for a little nostalgia. And then we're talking about Disneyland, which is
Hmm.
really poorly named because it's also the name of the whole thing.
Yeah.
And then it's also the name of one of the two parks.
Yep.
And then Disney's California Adventure at Disneyland. So
Yep.
we got six parks. We're gonna let's talk about land first. What is your favorite?
Oh my
Which
God.
of the two? And
Okay.
yeah,
It's a hot take. I love California Adventure. I mean Disneyland's wonderful, but I prefer I think it's because there's more thrill rides at California Adventure. Let's back up for a second. I'm officially in Washington State. For those of you who've been following along, I was in San Antonio. Eventually, Endgame is Philadelphia, but right now, my mother has so graciously let us stay with her while we're waiting for our house to sell.
like every middle-aged millennial moving back home.
Yeah, the struggle's real. We brought two cats with us. We've got Pearl behind me. She just keeps moving. I didn't realize she was closer to me now.
Got close.
We've got Pearl and Binks. They survived the flight. So maybe we could, on a separate episode, talk about how to travel with pets because that was a lot more stressful than it needed to be because I made it stressful. The experience itself wasn't. But yeah, so we're in Washington now. Chris and I are 3 hours apart, which is really a pain because I'm starting my day and he's like practically done with his because what time do you wake up? Like 5 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah,
Yeah.
at the gym. Yeah,
Gross. Too
yeah.
early.
By yeah, by like two or three, I'm done. I'm done for. I've already lived a 2 days life in that. I'm done. All
Yeah.
right, so Disneyland. So you're in
Yeah.
Washington State, which born and raised there, which is why
Hmm.
though you have probably a slightly better affinity to Disneyland because it's a little bit more
Yeah.
nostalgic for you because you went
Definitely.
there more frequently. Geographically speaking, you were closer. So
Hmm.
California, Disney's California Adventure.
Hmm.
Why?
I'm a thrill ride girl and I love like Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout, phenomenal ride. Incredicoaster, phenomenal ride. You want to go on Soarin'? It's there. Like there's just Radiator Springs Racers. Also, like just the little rides in Cars Land are also great. You got Mater's Junkyard Jamboree. You got Luigi's Rollickin' Roadsters. I feel like I'm missing a third ride, but I don't remember what it is.
In
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 Cars
the cars
Land.
thing?
Yeah. No, it's just those two. And then Radiator
Yeah,
Springs Racers.
three,
Yeah.
three altogether. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It's a good park.
Better food too, and
Oh.
and when they have the festivals, they're in
Hmm.
that park.
Yeah, they're at California Adventure. Yeah.
All right, so more thrilling rides. I mean, you still have thrilling rides in Disneyland, though.
Yeah, you do. Here's the thing that we all know about Kayla if you've listened to an episode. I don't like kids, and Disneyland is the more kid-centric park, where California Adventure is the more, I guess, adult-centric park. Or not even adult, but just like teenage and above, I feel like. Like there's stuff for younger kids to do, like the Redwood Creek Trail, which is a huge giant play area essentially, a California Adventure in the woods, if you will. that, kids love. But I stay away from that because I don't have kids. I don't want to be around them. They're there. I'm hanging out, drinking my beer, standing in line for a credit coaster. Like that's what I'm doing with my
Well, and
time.
the whole Pixar Pier too. I mean,
Yeah.
outside of Incredicoaster is geared towards younger
Right.
children.
Yeah, because you've got like the games, you've got the Ferris wheel, you've got the swings. Yeah,
Like Goofy, first of all, let's talk about that Ferris wheel.
terrifying.
What the fuck?
Have you been on it?
Yeah, twice, and I three times actually, and I all three times not in the. So if you're not familiar at all with it, it is the iconic like symbol that they use to show
Yeah.
California Adventure anyway, right? And all their marketing. But if you're not familiar, it's not a standard Ferris
No.
wheel, which, by the way, for the record, at you will never see me on one at like a carnival.
Same.
I think there are death traps, right? You're dangling by like four screws. That's it. And you're
Hmm.
dangling. It's too slow. I'd rather go fast and whip me around because at least,
They do have a ride like that. You know which one I'm talking about?
yeah, the
Where you're like
zipper.
not, no, the one where you're like not strapped in and you start like on the ground and then it lifts up and the
Yeah,
centrifugal force just keeps you in your seat.
yeah. The
That ride's
Gravitron.
fun. Is that what it's called? Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And you're not strapped in. And then you can like slide up and you're like, woo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
It's like
so
natural Botox.
it is. Yeah. Look at that. Look at that. So, all right, but let's talk about Disneyland Park though for a second. What?
Wait, we didn't explain the Ferris wheel. First, we have to
Oh,
rewind. Okay, so Mickey, so it used to be called Mickey's Fun Wheel. Now it's called Pixar Pal Around, right? Is that
it's called a fucking disaster death
yeah.
trap. Is
So it's got swinging and non-swinging gondolas. You get in line just
it's like
depending on if you want
Kayla's
to swing or not.
relationship. One swings and one doesn't.
And it's absolutely terrifying. So the swinging gondolas are on essentially like a oval shaped track, and as the Ferris wheel moves, the gondola is swinging back and forth. And I think I'm with you. I think I've been on it 3 times, and every time I think I've been on it swinging, not swinging, and then swinging again with like someone who'd never been on it before. And I was like, yeah, okay, I'll try it again. No, I will never again. I've learned my lesson. There are 2 rides at the Disneyland Resort I will not go on again. One is the Matterhorn, and the other is the Ferris wheel because both are painful and terrifying, and I don't need that in my life.
Yes, not too dissimilar from listening to us. No, I agree. I actually wrote it with Connor, who was a guest on our show previously, but
Yeah.
at that time, I don't know if I wasn't hydrated enough. That hit me the worst. I don't know if I was hungover. I don't know what was going on, but it was rough. And the one time we got off and someone had puked everywhere.
Oh my
Um,
god.
but I get that happens because you're going in all the motions. It's too much.
Hmm.
It's too much, and it's and you're not strapped in, so you're like, what's happening?
And you start
Um,
and you stop and you start and you stop and you start and you stop, and so like you're just on edge for so long, especially like I don't do heights very well, so like when you get to the top half or quarter of that thing and you're like starting and stopping and starting and stopping, it's traumatizing. It really is. I don't need to do that ever again. I'm good.
no, I guess before we move on, you talked a lot about the Incredicoaster. I would say outside of the new Guardians of the Galaxy at Walt Disney World, of the two U.S. based theme parks, that might be my favorite roller coaster.
Really?
Um, yeah, it's traditional, right? It's
Hmm.
wooden of sorts, and it does all the. It still goes upside down. It does
Yeah.
all the things. It has the fast shoot, right?
Yeah.
Like, and it's long. It's
Hmm.
it's a good. It's a lengthy ride.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's true.
yeah. All right. Well, so what about Disneyland? Do you like the other part?
It's funny because you said there's better food at California Adventure, but I think the food at Disneyland is fantastic. Um, and yeah, it's for me, it's a lot of nostalgia. Like I love Fantasyland, so one of my favorite rides at Disneyland is the Storybook Land Canal Boats, which is actually like a OG ride. Don't make that. If you're listening, Chris just made a face at me.
It's a strange ass ride. It's a strange. Uh,
It's
anyway,
just like it's I feel like it's a great homage to Walt, right? Like
yeah,
it's this right. So if you've never been to Disneyland, the Storybook Lane Canal boats started as literally just like a boat ride around some mounds of dirt, and that was it. It has since been built out so that you are on a boat ride through the different like villages of Disney characters. So like you go by Pinocchio's village, you go by Arendelle, you're going by
mhm.
Cinderella's castle, and they're all like little miniatures, and it's so cute. And there's also always like lots of ducks just hanging out, so it looks like there's like these gigantic ducks coming to destroy the town. But it's just like a very, yeah, it's
It's
very
not.
like nostalgic Disney.
It's not a very fat friendly ride because at the end they're
No.
like everybody must stand up at the same time. And you're like,
Yeah.
what's going to happen if you don't? You're going to tip the boat.
Yeah.
God damn it, your fat ass is going to tip the. So I'm always worried about that as being a
Yeah, that's fair.
little self conscious. I'm like, I do love that whole area though. That whole OG
Hmm.
area with Peter Pan and
Yeah.
the crackhead ride of the frog, Mr. Toad's Wild Ride.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, I don't know what's going on there, but somebody was
Yeah.
high when they made that. But
Oh,
that
for
whole
sure.
little section feels very uniquely Disney, right? Like you
Hmm.
feel like you're back in that time frame. So,
Yeah.
all right. I love. It feels big. It feels bigger than Magic Kingdom and Disney World.
Yeah.
So for me, I love Disneyland because it doesn't have that hub and spoke feel. So it feels like you're keep moving into different areas. And I love New Orleans, as we know, we've done talked about New Orleans. New
Right.
Orleans Square for me is awesome. I love that theming there.
Yeah.
It's hard not to compare the rides there with the same rides that are in Walt Disney World, but
They're
some are
better at
better.
Disneyland.
Yeah,
Listen. Pirates, better at Disneyland. Haunted Mansion, better at Disneyland.
Haunted Mansion agreed. The Pirates is longer, but you go through a lot of nothing for a while. But I would agree it's better. It's a
Yeah.
little bit better. Um, all right, so you're saying California Adventure wins because of the thrill rides
Hmm.
predominantly.
Yeah. What do you
I would.
think?
I think California Adventure. I like the rides there better. I do love the nostalgic feel of Disneyland. Right,
Yeah.
like you can't ever discount that. Seeing the where Walt's apartment was and his whole
Mm.
the whole dream. Like you can't you 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 can't miss that.
Yeah.
But I think California Adventure feels a little bit more like Epcot, as you said, a little bit
Oh,
more
yeah.
adult friendly. And I
Hmm.
just it feels it's more fun, right? And
Yeah.
it's hitting the newer, generally hitting the newer movies and things that
Hmm.
Disney has or Pixar has put out, or Marvel, or and the Disney franchise has put out.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with California Adventure as well.
I just want to ride Mission Breakout over and over and over and over
Yeah,
and over
why is
again.
that ride so good? And I hate Tower of Terror.
I
Um,
don't know. I was
I
really
don't,
upset when they rethemed it, and I was like, "How dare they? I can't believe they did this." And then I went on it, and I was like, "Okay, maybe it's not that bad."
and it's all it does is go up and down, right? And
That's
it's so
it.
much better than the Florida one because
Hmm.
I mean that it's more fun, it's lighter, right? It's a more
Yeah.
fun experience, but
Yeah.
uh, I just need even I think if the Disney World one did that and did like the up and down stopped for something and went back up and down and
Hmm.
I don't know. I think because you get that anticipation multiple times on
Yeah.
in at the breakout Guardians breakout. What is it
Hmm.
called?
Mission Breakout. Guardians of the
Mission.
Galaxy. Mission Breakout. Because
Okay,
you're
too long.
breaking out the Guardians of the Galaxy
I know
with
what's
Rocket.
happening
Okay, I'm
with
just making
Rocket.
sure you understood the name. I thought that would help you connect the dots.
Probably not. Okay, so we have California Adventure winning for attractions and relevancy
Hmm.
and festivals.
Yeah.
Which what are the festivals? They have the food and
They
wine.
do food and wine, and then they do festival of the holidays. And oh, and there's also um, the Lunar New Year. I was gonna call it Chinese New Year, but that it's not. It's Lunar New Year celebration. So they do that. in February. Food and Wine is actually, we're recording this in April, and Food and Wine is right now. And then Festival of Holidays is November, December.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
their Food and Wine is opposite season of Walt Disney World's.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So let's move over to the world,
Hmm.
over to the great state of Florida. Uh, so now we have four theme parks to pick from, right?
Yeah.
So it's not a 50-50 shot.
This is
Oh,
a
and
tough one for me.
I do love something about every one of them. And I don't like something about every one of them. So maybe why don't we start? We'll go through instead of talking about all four. Well, what's your least favorite? Let's go there
Magic Kingdom.
for all the same reasons.
Yeah. Well, so I think that everything at like Magic Kingdom feels like a wannabe Disneyland to me, and I'm like, I can do this at Disneyland. I don't, whatever. This is fine. And I love the food at Disneyland, and the food at Magic Kingdom is garbage. Unless you're going to Skipper Canteen, that's like the only place, in my opinion, worth my time at Magic Kingdom for food. I do think that seven. I mean, we've talked about Seven Dwarfs Mine Train when Rebecca was on. I think that that's a fun ride, but it's not redeemable enough to like have me enjoy
Yeah.
Magic Kingdom as a park.
Have you been on Tron? You haven't been on Tron yet.
No, I haven't been on Tron. I haven't been. Yeah, it opened like right
Tron's
after
pretty
the last
awesome.
time I was there.
Tron's pretty awesome, but its length is about the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, so you're probably
Mm,
not gonna be like, "Oh my god, this is amazing."
yeah.
Um, okay, that's fair. I don't have that same perspective because I didn't grow up going to Disneyland,
Right.
right? So
Yeah.
for me, the OG for me in my life experience is Walt Disney World. So
Mm-hmm.
uh, I do love Magic Kingdom. Um, I could get a coffee and sit in that alcove. I think I've said this before, forever,
Yeah.
all day long, and just watch the world go by.
Yeah.
Uh, and because Lord knows the whole fucking world goes by. That is it's a special place to be watching, to
Yes,
be
it
people
is.
watching. Um, but all right, so that's your least favorite. Normally,
Yep.
that's everyone's favorite. So you're the
Yep.
weirdo.
I know.
Uh, as my kids get older, and I don't know if it's I mean, it is quintessentially Disney,
Yeah.
right? I
Oh,
mean, it
yeah.
is all the things that you're ever going to want to see. So yes, I think that's why it's most of the time people's favorite.
Yeah.
But I would say my least favorite. Ooh,
You're going to offend me with whatever you say.
I know I am,
Mm-hmm.
and
It's
I
okay.
say this with a caveat because when we talk with people who are like, "Oh, we're going to Disney World, but we're not going to go to Animal Kingdom," I'm like, "Oh,
Oh.
that like a knife in the heart," because I do love Animal
Mm-hmm.
Kingdom, but if I had to rank them, it does hit the last of them for me. But it's like the last of all the great things. It's something has to be the worst, but it's still not bad,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
there's amazing things there. I think it's so well laid out. There's such a nice vibe between shows and exhibits to walk through to
Mm-hmm.
attractions. So you're not just hitting attraction after attraction, waiting in line. Um, but it's not for everybody because it's the theming isn't for like not everybody's going to be attracted to Pandora or cares
Mm-hmm.
about animals or you know
And it's a very, very sprawling park that is also a bowl. It is without a doubt the hottest park.
yes it is.
Yeah. And it's as someone who used to work there, and I had to be outside in long sleeves and pants all day long. It's miserable when it's hot outside. That is the last park I want to be in on a hot day.
I don't know if there's any park we want to be in on a hot day, but um
But there's like no like you're not, and
yeah, that one
you're not going into air conditioning even.
that's like known to be like 5 to 10 degrees hotter than anywhere else, right? Like
Yeah.
just the way it's although I gotta say there's very little shade when you're doing the EPCOT scene,
Yeah.
especially in the country in the World Showcase.
But there's
Um,
at least air conditioning you can like duck
yeah,
into. Like,
you can hop into the stores in
yeah.
the
Where
countries. Yeah,
in Asia, which is where I worked when I was at Animal Kingdom, there's Circazong, which is the store that Everest dumps into when you get off of Expedition Everest. But they've got doors wide open and like very tall ceilings. So it's very muggy in there most of the time, especially if it's like just rained. It's so muggy. And then most other stores, it's like a little stall. Like you're not going, unless you're at Discovery Island, you're not going into an actual storefront. And that's what for me is like really rough about Animal Kingdom, where like at Epcot, even if you're in the World Showcase, you've got somewhere you can duck into to get to air conditioning, to have a
Correct.
reprieve of some sort.
I do think, in terms of, I mean, taking out Epcot because that is built for lots of food experiences, but I think Animal Kingdom has some of the best food in the theme parks.
Yeah.
Again, excluding Epcot. And my favorite lounge, the Nomad Lounge, outside of Tiffin's, that's
Yeah.
incredible. Jack and Yeti is always a good choice if you can get in there.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite um, character dining experiences at Tusker House, right? Meeting the
Oh, yep.
classics there. So I feel like, and then the shows, right? You got the Lion King show, which is
So good.
probably hands down the best Disney show. I mean,
Yeah.
unfortunately, it hasn't changed. So if you've seen it 87 times, like you and I have, but I could see it an 88th time. Like
Mm-hmm.
uh, it's so good, right? And
Mm-hmm.
very, if you haven't been, it's very Circus Soleil-ish,
Yeah.
Broadway-ish type experience. And so I think it's really up there in terms of the show experiences that Disney offers.
Yeah.
Um, all right, so we have two different least favorites. So what's your
Mm.
favorite then?
So this is where I'm torn. I I have a very special tie to Animal Kingdom because I've worked there, and I think that the rides there are great.
Hmm.
But I also love Epcot because your girl likes to eat. And also, I love Figment. And I'm not saying, I like, I'm not calling his ride Figment. I'm saying as a character, I love Figment, the character. I love Spaceship Earth. And I love Guardians of the Galaxy. So, like, it's hard because Expedition Everest is hands down, without a doubt, my favorite roller coaster, my favorite Disney roller coaster, stateside. My favorite is actually Big Thunder at Disneyland Paris, but we're not. We'll get into that on a different episode. But I love Expedition Everest. I also worked right there, so I feel very nostalgic, specifically to like Asia. But like you said, the shows, Finding Nemo, The Lion King, they're fantastic. Dinosaur is too loud, in my opinion. But other than that, I think it's a great ride. I wish that I'd kept the photo that my mom and I got the first time we rode it because we were like ducked into each other, terrified of the T Rex. But it's just
I would
like,
say, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, it's just a good park. That's all.
I would say probably when they redo that whole area that's forthcoming, I think it'll give a run for its money. Animal
Oh,
Kingdom,
yeah.
it'll be much more attractive to people to get there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say my favorite park is Epcot
It's a close
too.
second for me.
I'm gonna say it's my favorite because one, I love staying at the boardwalk. We talked about this when we
Yes.
talked about the battle of the um,
Resorts.
yeah, the battle of the resorts, the
Mm-hmm.
deluxe resorts. But the um, for me, that is just that whole area, being able to walk into the back entrance, but having all of that access to all the food options, all the drink options. When there's almost always a festival going on, and none of them are bad. Um, and it changes up a little bit each time depending on the season of the year that you're going. And then I'm saying Epcot because I'm saying the 2024 version of Epcot. They've done
Yeah.
a lot to it over the last few years that have made it a lot better, and it's even getting better. It was for a minute lacking attractions and things to do that weren't making it what people call a full day park. But again, it is my favorite. And when I go without my kids, it's hands down my favorite.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially
I
now that
could,
the walls are down.
yep, it's like Germany.
Yeah.
The
It's
the
like,
which speaking of, I could sit on the picnic tables in Germany again all day and
yeah.
just watch. the world go by until the fireworks happen tonight.
Eat some
And don't
pretzels,
sleep.
drink some beer.
Do not sleep on the freaking EPCOT fireworks. I don't care if it's a shittier show happening. It's not usually. There was some missteps, but you can't sleep on that because if you hate crowds like Kayla and I at EPCOT, you're much
It's
more
so
spread out.
spread out. Yeah.
It's awesome,
Yeah.
awesome.
Epcot is great. My biggest qualm with Epcot is the same thing with Animal Kingdom and that it's like so spread out. So like if you're coming in through the World Showcase entrance, so you're staying at one of the Epcot area resorts and you want to get to Spaceship Earth, that is so far to walk. It
Hmm.
feels like an actual eternity. And like you're saying, there's really not much shade, right? So like you're just walking around this path around the water. Like there's no shortcut to get you anywhere when it comes to the World Showcase unless you want to stand in line to get on the boat, which also does not have air conditioning and if it's hot out, that boat is like a little sauna. Like
And probably isn't faster.
I don't think so.
No. Well, and same. I had bought an individual lightning lane for Guardians
Hmm.
and was staying at the boardwalk, but we had just did the half marathon that morning, and we were like, we're not. We're our bodies were hurting. We're like, we're not walking across the park to get to Guardians. I'm like, I don't care that I just spent $20 a person on this lightning lane,
Man.
because agreed. And same thing, even if you're coming in from the front and you want to go to Frozen or Ratatouille,
Hmm.
you're
It's
walking a
a
mile
walk. Yeah.
by the time you get there, and it's fast. And everything you want to do is in all four corners of the park. Like
Yes.
you can't just get to one spot and be good. Yeah, you got to keep it moving.
I forgot to
That's
mention when it comes to Epcot, I'm I also love the land. Living with the Land is one of my favorite rides. See, I know I it's again in the same way that I love a good boat ride. As long as I'm not getting wet, I love a good boat ride.
I do like living with the land. It's
Yeah,
it's not for everybody.
it's not. But it's like it's so cool. I don't know. I love
It's
sustainability. I think that it's
Yeah.
a great spot for
I
that.
think that would be another one where I know they do the Christmas overlay, but I'd like for them to change that up a little bit just to
Hmm.
keep it a little bit more relevant. Like,
Yeah.
because again, I've heard that story a million times.
Yeah, that's
Why,
true.
why isn't Disney doing shit for me? Did you ever do the behind the scenes tour?
No, every time I want to go do it, there's something I think I wanted to do it when you and I were there last even, but it was just like my schedule never aligns correctly to do it. So it's not expensive either. It's like 20 or $30 a person.
Yeah, not much.
Yeah.
It's not that much money
Yeah.
in terms
Have
of
you done
Disney.
it?
I have not. Know people who have and loved it with
Okay.
kids and without. Like even their kids liked it. So it's a good. We should try it. We
I was going
should
to say
go.
next trip. Yeah, next trip we'll do it. And then we'll have a whole episode that's just dedicated to the behind the scenes tour. It'll
Yeah,
have two listeners, my mom
yeah.
and Rebecca, and that's it. Nobody else is going to listen to that one.
It'll be your mom and your mom again on a different
It'll,
device.
yeah, exactly.
um, all right. So we didn't even talk about Hollywood Studios, which I do
Yeah.
love. I mean, there's some good rides there. I love
Yeah.
me some Toy Story, Star Wars, right? Like again, I love when it stays relevant in the theming. I do
Yeah.
love the new Mickey and Minnie Runaway Railway, right? I mean, there's some awesome technology being used in Hollywood Studios.
Yeah.
Fantasmic is good to see if you're new to the Disney scene. But it's again, that's I could skip that. But I mean, there's amazing things there, and it does have my favorite in park beer place at at the Tap House.
Baseline. Is that what it's called?
Baseline, yeah,
Yeah.
Baseline Tap House.
Yeah.
Um, that is so perfectly situated to people watch and drink, and they have good few. They only have a few snacks: a charcuterie board, a pretzel, and then some weird puffed beef thing. But a pretzel and a charcuterie board
That's
and
all
a
you need.
beer from there. That's it. That's all you need. I could sit there for 2 hours, and
Yeah.
I do, and I just
I've
drink
been
and
with
I
you sitting there for two
yeah,
hours. I
it's
know.
wonderful. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Um, that park also is nice because it does feel a little bit more condensed in terms
Yeah.
of moving
It's not
around, right?
super spread out. Yeah.
It's not. So it's good, but it's not our top.
No.
All right. So now I feel like, God. All right. So we agreed in Disneyland,
Yep.
that California Adventure.
Hmm.
In Disney World, we're disagreeing. You said Magic, and I said Epcot.
I did not say
Um,
magic. How dare
sorry,
you?
you said Animal. You said Animal. I was thinking of your
Yes.
least favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I said Epcot.
Hmm.
So for you, which one wins? Now, if we're battling Disneyland versus
Hmm.
Disney World, which one wins?
California Adventure.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Why?
Because there's more to do. There's more to do. The vibes I think are better at California Adventure. Not that there's anything wrong with animal conservation, but I don't need it shoved down my throat the entire time I'm in a park. And I do feel that way about Animal Kingdom. Is like there's always this like underlying like everywhere I go
Yeah,
to buy something, they're going to ask me if I want to donate $1 to the conservation fund and things like that. Um,
they
and
were doing paper
again,
straws. They were doing paper straws long, long, long before paper
yes,
straws were given
that
in.
is
Yeah,
true. Yeah. Um, and I just think like dining options are better at California Adventure than they are at Animal Kingdom. I think the fact they've got the festivals, um, there's a lot that stinks.
creepy.
um, there's a lot more to do. I feel like at California Adventure than there is at Animal Kingdom, which some people might disagree with me, and I respect that. Because if you're into shows, Animal Kingdom wins. But I'm not a
For
show girl. I'm more of a ride girl, and that's what California Adventure has for me.
Okay. So I was California Adventure versus Epcot, and I
Hmm.
even compared the two being similar in
Yeah,
nature of sorts. So I think I'm gonna, for me, it's Epcot.
that's
Um,
fair.
and again, it probably because that was more what I went to growing up, right? So the
Hmm.
nostalgia.
Yeah,
I love the World Showcase. I know a lot of people don't, but I love it.
me too.
Um, and so for me, Epcot wins. But I think like like to wrap this all up, like you can't go wrong in any one of them,
Yeah.
really, right? And there is something for everybody, right? We
Hmm.
just spent the last 25, 30 minutes talking about the difference between them all and why you and I like some over others, but
Hmm.
I don't hate any part of any of them except
Yeah.
for the people.
Yeah, if they could all be empty and only open to me,
Great.
that
I
would be
didn't hit the
wonderful.
Powerball. You didn't happen to swing down up to Oregon and get a lottery ticket, did you? Win the
No,
$1 billion on the
I'm so
Powerball? No.
no. I know. I'm so sorry because that could have been a thing that we did with that money. Yeah.
We could have bought out Magic Kingdom, and
Hmm.
then you would have. It could have become your favorite park, kidless and yours only
Yeah.
for
Yeah. I've
whatever that.
actually, so this is really random, but when I worked at Animal Kingdom, there was actually a night where a company rented out Asia specifically, and they rode Expedition Everest as many times as they wanted. I think that they had like food and drinks like out in the like just outside. I don't know because I was so busy printing out pictures for people because they also were like, we're just gonna give you a credit card and like tally how many people get pictures, and then we'll just pay for however many pictures it is. That was a surreal like, wow, how do I work for this company? I don't even remember what company it was, but I was like, I want to work somewhere where they rent out this area and I get to just ride Expedition Everest as many times as I want. Yeah, sign me up.
Yeah,
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 sounds great to me.
sounds wonderful.
Yeah.
All right, well, so then, I mean, the real moral to this story here is something for everybody. You got to go. You have to just go to experience it
You
yourself, so
just
that
have
you
to
can
go.
decide what is best for you.
Yeah.
All right, wrap this shit up, bitch.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. I hope that you guys have different opinions than we do, honestly.
Yeah,
Like we're
we would love.
saying,
Yeah,
yeah. Tell us.
we would. We would love to hear them and then tell you you're wrong. That'd be
Right.
great.
We would love to tell you how wrong you are. Um, But we appreciate you listening to us, as always, subscribing and downloading and engaging with us. We are so thankful that all of you are listening to the two of us just bullshit for 30 minutes at a time. And on that note, let's just go.
Thanks, everyone.